Okay, start off.
Hello, Mrs. Garcia. How are you
Miss
doing
Martinez.
today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I'm so glad you took the time out of your day to come meet with me. So we're just going to be discussing some of Matthew's scores on the Scholastic Test of Achievement. Are you familiar with the test?
I know it's a very important test.
It is very important, but I do want you to know it doesn't measure his intelligence, it doesn't determine grade promotion. All it does is just measure what they're learning from the different subjects, reading, math, all of that, and then just to determine like what's going on with the curriculum and instruction.
Okay, that makes me feel much better.
And so if you can see right here, we have his name, everything, the school, just to make sure that we're talking about the right student. You can verify that's your son's name, his grade, and then we did take the test about 6 weeks ago, so that's why the date is from then. And I'm sure you remember when you picked him up, we did let all the parents know to have them well rested, make sure they ate breakfast because it was an important exam. But we didn't take it in one day, we took it over a span of that week, so let's see. And so, I know you said you knew kind of a little about the test. It was important. Has any teachers have they explained this test to you before?
No, they haven't.
No? Okay, so we have the norm referenced information up here at the top, and then we have the criterion referenced. I'm gonna go over both sections with you just to make sure that you understand everything. We're gonna take a look at the norm reference section first. Is that okay?
Yes, what exactly is norm reference?
So if you look at the scores, they're divided into subtests right here, the reading, math, and then we have a few more down here. And then it just compares the student scores to a norm group. And so the norm group was a group of 10,000 students who took the same exact test under the same conditions, and they kind of made it into like they put their scores and they compare our students to that. So everyone's get to compared to the same exact scores. Nothing changes. Let's see. So then we have, like you said, the reading, math, everything right here. We have basic battery, and that's everything, all these subjects up here, but it doesn't include social studies or science. And then we have complete battery at the bottom, and then that's all of the subjects together. And it just determines, sometimes the district wants to look at the basic battery and see, make sure all our students are, where they need to be for reading and math without using science and social studies. Do you have any questions right here about any of the subtests or the scores?
Yes, what is tested and the procedures under the math?
So the procedures under the math is just basic not problem solving, but it's basic adding, subtracting, geometry, 2D shapes, kind of the problems that require rules and certain procedure steps. So I can show you the different scores for that section right here. We have the number of items, which was 28, and then we have the raw score. So that's Matthew's raw score of 19, which means he scored 19 out of 28. And then looking at the national percentiles, he did score in the 44th percentile.
And what is the national percentiles?
So if we look right here on the bell curve, we have the national percentiles is just where the norm group scored and then what was the average score. So everything right here in the middle is average. So it's kind of, if you're in that range, there's nothing to worry about. If you're below, there's concern. If you're above, then that's even better. So he scored in the 44th percentile. He would be right here. So he's in that range, he's in the green, he's did good in the procedures part.
Okay.
Okay, so then did you want me to go over another section with you, kind of compare the results, or do you think you could do it on your own later? Are you comfortable with that?
No, I think I can look over it once I get home. You explain everything very thoroughly.
Okay, and then let me just tell you one more thing. I'm so sorry. The scaled score. So that is just a standard measure of unit that the schools and the districts use to compare the scores right here. So it's going to be, if we look on the bell curve, it's going to be the 400 and the 600. So we can look at Matthew's scaled score, 488, and it's kind of like the same thing. You find 488, it'd be right here, still in the green. And then we do have these bands, so that kind of goes to these bands right here. Kind of relates back to the national percentiles. So testing companies do have, they do determine like if there's any mistakes that could be made, any like, I don't know what I'm saying. So the testing companies do compare, they take into consideration all the testing factors, like the testing conditions, and so they have come up with this SEM, which is the, do you remember what it stands for?
The error?
The standard error of measurement. So right here they determined it was 4 points, so that means he could have still scored 4 points below and then 4 points above. So 44, he could have been at 40th percentile, he could have been at 48, and if we look right here, he still would have fallen in the green, which is really good. And then our bands right here do show us that. So the band shows us where he would fall. All right, and so were you ready to move on to the next section? Did I explain everything okay?
I also had a question about. Wait, we're doing instructional now. No, we are doing instructional. Okay, let's move on. Okay.
So you ready to move on to
Yes,
the criterion reference scores? Okay, awesome. So you can see right here that it breaks down the subjects even more. So we have the reading, vocabulary, and we have all these little subtests underneath. Is there any you would like to kind of talk about? And I can explain it as we go along.
Yes, I wanted to know more about structural analysis.
The structural analysis. All right. So let's see. It does look like he did pretty well in this area. We'll highlight it. He was determined to be high in that set of skills. And like the above, the raw score is how many he got right. So he got 10 right, and then the NP is number possible. So he got 10 out of 10. So he did really well, and I do see that in class. He's really good at determining new vocabulary when he's reading. If it has a prefix, suffix, he knows how to use that new vocabulary when he's writing. He does really well, so I could totally show you all of his work. I think that was pretty accurate. These are determined just by what the testing company feels is low, medium, high. But I can vouch for that. He did really well. And these are, so say he didn't do well, it kind of lets me know that I need to touch up more on that, or maybe work more one-on-one with him. So it really helps me determine what I need to do in my instruction and what I need to cover. All right, and so is there any other scores you'd like to go over maybe?
Yeah, let me see. How about phonetic analysis?
Phonetic analysis.
Yeah, it's under the word analysis.
Let's see, so we'll do that here.
Yeah, he scored pretty low, is that
Yeah,
accurate?
he did score low. So he had 11 questions, he answered 6. So phonetic analysis is just kind of determining the relationships of sounds with the letters. Matthew is really well at the words, when he learns new vocabulary, especially when it's kind of something he's seen before. But when I noticed that when we do our pre-test for our spelling, he does kind of have trouble when it's new words. When I'm speaking it, I don't know if it's me, or maybe it's just hearing it. There's like a disconnect there. But then at the end of the week when we do our final spelling test, I know you practice with him, he does really well. So I would just say, let's see. Oh my god, I'm totally gonna have to edit this. I don't wanna edit it. Let's see. So do you notice any of that at home? Maybe when he is introduced to new words, or when does he ask you to spell anything?
Yeah, I noticed that as well when he asked me how to spell something. He always asks me how to spell something. Do you think there's anything I could do on my part to help him straighten that spell?
So I think you're doing really great. Matthew's been telling me that you'll read Harry Potter before bed, and that's awesome because he gets to hear new vocabulary that way. So maybe if you had him read a few pages on his own with like little assistance, only when he needs it, just so that he can practice sounding out new words, or maybe have him kind of guess what letter goes with the sound, stuff like that. But you're doing really well. I would just say to keep doing what you're doing, because all that practice does help, and it shows in the classroom.
Okay, I'll start doing that tonight. I think Matthew would really enjoy that, just having him read and taking those turns.
Yeah. All right, so let's look. If you see, I know there were a few more he scored low on. Social studies, in the history, geography, and economics. So I just want to let you know that those do not reflect Matthew and what he's learning, because before we took the test, we really didn't get to cover much of that area, and after the test we had more time and we went over that, and we just finished a unit on Texas history, and Matthew came up with this really great script that showed me that he really did comprehend everything that we learned. So I don't want you to worry about that. And you can also see there was only 6 questions. So it's not really giving him much of a chance to show what he knows, because you never know what 6 questions you're gonna get.
Okay, that's very good to hear, because I was worried that he wasn't doing well in those areas.
Yeah, no need to worry. You're doing really well. Matthew's scores, we went over the most important parts, and we kind of went over the things you might be concerned about. Are you comfortable? Do you think you would be okay kind of reviewing the rest on your own?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to send home this with you so you can kind of look over, compare. And then I also have a testing terminology sheet if you want to refer back to while you're going over those. It has all the definitions, all the words and all that. And I also did include some additional resources right here that you could use to practice activities, games, nothing boring, just so you can practice, like we said, the phonetic analysis, all of that. It's stuff he'll enjoy.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And if you have any questions, you can email me. You have my number. You can contact me anytime. Let me know how Matthew's doing with that, or if you think he's improving. You can just let me know, and I'll keep in touch with you too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.